Following the tragic event that hit the media fraternity recently, Fifi Da Queen and Ibrah, media personalities who have worked with some of the biggest media companies in Uganda and have since left the country for obvious reasons, came out to reflect on some of the dark moments and horrifying things they witnessed while working with local media companies. Listen to their conversation attentively and carefully. We'll be back in a bit for conversation and analysis.
Kati abaana ba mawulire bebizibu babiyitamu bingi abeera mu company ng'akola Monday ku Monday nze nga nakayingira mawulire for like 5 to 10 years nakolanga Monday ku Monday ng'otuuka n'okusaba olunaku owumule mukama wo n'agamba tekigenda kusoboka ntandika okwewaggulanga nga ngenda ne neebaka nze
olaba ne bw'ofiirwa togenda kuziika olw'okuba TV oyina okukola
nze neewaggula n'ogamba bannange ninayo trip ne bagamba mwaliga okulinnya ennyonyi manager n'ayombera okulinnya ennyonyi
ekizibu ekyakye tulina gwe tokimanyi nze kye naaba mawulire omwo nti bw'okola katulaba ng'okola amawulire n'otandika okufuna sources ez'amaanyi boosi n'alaba ng'olinga ageneratinga connection ez'amaanyi olwo lwokka olutalo luvaawo oyagala gaggawalira mu kampuni ye oyagala kusuula bizinensi ye musobola okulwanira awo paka wakulemesa omulimu
Lina mukama wange yaŋŋamba ne bane bakama baffe babaako bikikyamu ku mutwe nga nkyakola esho y'okumakya natuuka time nga ntya mu kkubo kuba twakeeranga nnyo ng'ate kampani bwe kukima bakukima ku 10 ez'okumakya kati ne ŋŋanza okunkima ku 10 nedda nina emmotoka yange nga ŋŋamba mukama wange nga ngenda kuwanga aba security ku buli lwamukaga bajje nga bakukime ku kikomera bakutwale mukama wange lumu oba yali avaawa ngwa mu mmotoka yennyingira kampani naye ayingira teyagenda manager oyo gw'olaba yabeerawo shoneggwa n'aŋŋamba singa obadde oli munda mu accounts nga gy'okola eyo twale tulina okunoonyerezaako tulina embuzi ebibuuzo zino emmotoka ozijjawa z'ovuga ye lwaki olina security ekituufu gwani ne mugamba naye professional I think sinagowingako wrong nze olw'emputu yange nenva mu meeting ye nengenda ne mugamba ebisigadde nja kuwulizeewo ekyalo
mbadde mpuliriza Mako nga nnyonnyola the pressure kuteebwako okuviira ddala ku editor oba producer negenda ng'emountinga paka ku bamuyita batya head of production ne mountinga paka ku TV manager ne mountinga paka ku nanyini TV naye nga story ya dakika 3 egenda kutta future yo ogwe ku kabenje ogoko okugulu obo okyuke timing anything like that bafune omulala bamuteekewo
Land Road ogenda ova ku kitanda nga akusudde ebweru
nti olwaleero kati saawa eno tugenda kutunuulira example ya Badiru abaana ba Badiru oba omwana wa Badiru gwalese oba abaana be tetumanyi fizi za tamu ejja we bagenda kuzijja naye nga Badiru oyo abadde akola kweyo TV for example okuva ku Monday paka ku Sunday ng'abeera ne on call nti bakukubira ne simu on call oshegeera nti ne meeting zituula nga bakugamba leero numbers nga zidropinze kati
naye ng'ate ge bazidemanding nga talina wadde company benefit
webale because ojjana kutunulamu companies nyingi ziri mu kukozesa abantu awo zibateeka ku nninga tezisasula na NSSF nga basic esookerwako kati soke tutunulire okutegekera obukadde bw'omuntu bangi nnyo kabosi ne kasinziira eyo nga kasula mu katanda 4x6 buno obutanda buno obulinga ejjeneza mu basitulira abasiraamu obwo mu butanda obwo obutegedde obwo butanda ne kakubira essimu nga kakomba amannyo wozanya tukuteekako omuntu omulala kati era naawe musajja wattu nodduka era because bagenda kuteekako omuntu omulala naye ogenda okukizuula bwoti nga kakampani ako tekasasula NSSF ogenda ogira bwoti zino company nga tezirina wadde na medical insurance esookerwako ey'omuntu ebintu ebisookerwako
bakuta osigala mu bbanga bwoti.
Yeah, first of all, I didn't do this video to blame anyone. I did this video because I've been working within the Ugandan media industry for about 10 years. I've worked with various media companies, some of the best in Uganda, some even that stretch across Africa. I've seen a lot of things myself. And it's good to always have these conversations so that we, for the people that are coming in, because some of you go sit at home in your, in your sofas or while at work, and you watch content and you don't know how it comes out and what people that produce it, the things they go through. So um, most of the things that you saw the Fifi Da Queens and Ibrah Mukasa talking about, the bosses usually aren't intentionally doing those things. The reality of the economy is tough because, for instance, let's give an example of Next Media, which is going through a very tough moment today with the deaths of its workers, and Makona, who is going through treatment. I'm sure you've seen adverts that play on their screens. A huge chunk of them are from the government, and any one of you has done big business knows that government gives contracts, but paying is they can even take like 2 years without paying you. Some people even take, I think, like very many are even a decade without ever seeing their payment. Why? Because of many reasons. And when that is happening, the owner of the media company has to pay bills. They have to pay for electricity, they have to pay for water, they have to pay salaries. They also have to think about how they're going to get back their investment. So all that, as all that is happening, because some of these media owners also acquire loans to meet some of these contracts, because a company will come and give you a contract to do for them something, and maybe you don't have the cash, but because you hope they are going to pay you in time, you go to a bank and get a loan, and then maybe the government delays to pay back, to give you the money. They promise to pay you when you signed up off that advert, and now you have to pay back the loan. So as all that is happening, the workers are not getting paid on time. They are not being facilitated that like you had promised them in their contract. So all this frustration comes up as you saw these people narrating. So things are tough. Yeah, people go through delayed salaries. The companies are understaffed, so hence they're overworked. So when you're overworked and maybe you have to drive a car in the night, or you go home and you're tired, there's a lot you're going through. You go home, maybe you have to pay school fees for your kid, but you don't see the money. All that stress accumulates, and it causes the problems in both at work and the employee's life. Because even the boss, as he's seeing his workers not happy, he's also not happy. There are very few bosses who are inhuman. Like, I don't think there are many bosses in Uganda who have the money to pay workers on time and they don't do it. At least for the media industry, I know, like, because if you're making the money, why won't you want to pay your workers? Of course, I know there are people who are greedy. We know that for a fact. I mean, we've seen even like in the villages, in farms, someone has like 1,000 cows. They're producing milk every day, but he can't pay his workers who are supposed to earn like 100K a month. We know there are greedy people there, but sometimes employers don't intentionally refuse to pay. It's just that they sign contracts, and the people they have signed contracts with don't meet their obligations. And then, of course, as an employee, there are not many alternatives, because some of these journalists join these things when they are passionate. Someone has always wanted. They grew up watching maybe Samson Kasumba or Flaviat Msime or Gaetano Kagwa or Lucky Mbabazi, or maybe even international stars on CNN and BBC and whatever. They grew up admiring them, so they join these things as a passion. So they keep hanging on. Maybe one day I get a breakthrough, and maybe someone in the BBC will give me a call. Oh, this startup I'm working with is going to finally get better, and we're going to start making money. So sometimes you hang on and think things are going to get better. By the time you know it, it's too late. You've worked for 10 years. You're now like 35. You have a kid. You have a wife. So taking a risk to move on to something new becomes hard, because now you can't go and maybe like I see Kasuki is always encouraging his colleagues to start YouTube channels and whatever. It becomes hard, because now if you think about leaving your job, start doing YouTube, maybe to take like a year before you start making serious money. You don't have enough runway capital, so you hang on the job. The stress at home, things are really tough. That's why some of them have gotten frustrated, like we've seen a lot of. I think a few years ago, there's a time, I think was it 2023, when we had a lot of hemorrhage of media employees leaving the country when the cases and whatever's were going, because you can't, like, there are not many options in the country, by the way, especially now, like for these people who do Luganda. because the only employer is the local media companies. And maybe if you're lucky, you become like a PR person, of which very few people, unless maybe you're good, like you're good in Uganda, maybe English, like the Nakazubes who are lucky to speak both. But there are people who can only speak Luganda as their first language. So you find you have no options. And like a few people have been like, and they have moved to the BBCs and New York Times and the AFPs. So if you have no options outside of Uganda, you're cooked. You're terribly cooked. So that's how some of them have ended up on many jobs outside of Uganda. Of course, because they had nothing else to do. We can't blame them. But you also can't blame the bosses, because at least maybe I'm seeing wrong, but for instance, like companies like the likes of Vision Group and Nation Media, which are multinationals, why, like I'm sure their owners want to see profits. For Vision Group, actually, it's a government-owned company. I don't think they would want to treat their workers poorly. But at times, of course, they could be paying their workers on time, but is the salary good enough for the worker to do the job and be happy, and also serve the company to their best? So this is a lot to reflect on. I would encourage you guys hit the comment section and tell us what you think.